Okay, so we are now entering the website itongzuo.com, which is, we can actually use three websites. That's itongzuo.com, oepbk.com, and the third one here. So you can just save that in your browser so that if one doesn't work, you just move to the other. Okay, so use itongzuo.com, number one. So that's here. And then try to translate the page to English and log in. So here, this is the account name, this is the password. Then sign in. So every time you see, this is the 4 weeks that you need to open. And since this is a test page, no one is opening their schedule here. And so you just need to click adjust later every time you see that. So let me check if you are there. Let's start with you, Teacher Rachel. Are you here?
Yes, ma'am. Do I need to share my screen, ma'am?
Nope, just confirm that you have found this page. How about you,
Yes.
Teacher Lynn?
Yes, I'm on it.
Here? Great. Teacher Esther?
Hi, Marie. But can you kindly tell me again on how to translate it into English?
This one, you see the three buttons on the right side, upper right side of my browser. You click that and look for translate. Here.
Okay. I'm using iMac. Okay, I'll just try to find the translate here in iMac.
Okay. That's okay. So anyway, what I shared in the YouTube is exactly the same as what we're doing. And also the system, the PDF file for system navigation is the same as what I'm showing you. So meaning to say, you can watch the YouTube file or you can watch or check out the PDF file just to find how you are going to open the website. Okay? Teacher Esther, nawala.
Yes,
Teacher,
okay.
Teacher Bev, are you here?
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah, I mean, have you reached this
Yes,
page?
yes, I'm on that page.
Okay, great. Uh, I'm sure teacher there, you know this already, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So guys, for you to move on and open to warm up page, what you need to do is click on this field. See this? It's the open field, the blank field here. You can see a calendar. I just click one time and then click back. You need to go to January 29th because the test student is here. I'll do it again. Click here. Go to January 29th. Then click future booking. So you can see here the test student page. So this is for other department. This is for general English. This one on the date is January 31. This is the one for IELTS. Because this is where you will click and open the website from this test student for IELTS. So what you need to do is click this one time. And this is the class detail page. So you see here, I'm gonna scroll down That's 1, 2, and 3. And you want to look for teaching plan IELTS. So I click that one time. And click, if you can see this, this is the teacher test student. I need to click BSR or the red button. So anyone who hasn't reached this part, please let me know. Teacher Rachel,
Ma'am.
are you here?
Yes po.
Okay. Lynn,
Yes.
Esther, Teacher Bev, Teacher Bev.
Yes, Miss Mary.
Okay, are you here?
Yep.
Okay, I'll proceed. Click BSR. If this is your teacher's page, this should be your name. But since this is a testee page, test teacher page, I'm going to copy that and paste here. I insist to open. Then we are now diverted to the warm-up page. This is where you're going to start your demo. Okay, so as I've mentioned, if this one pops up, just click adjust later. Is everyone here in the warm-up page?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so let me just call the one that will present the PREC method for part 1 and part 3. Anyone who hasn't reached that part? Hello?
Oh, hi Marie. I was now able to translate it into English, and I remember that we have to go to the calendar and move it to January 29.
Correct, yes.
Okay, sorry. So after moving it to January 29, shall I click future booking?
Yes.
Okay.
Teacher Christelle, what time's your next class?
Good
Teacher
afternoon,
Christelle.
PM. Yes, hi.
Hi, Teacher Christelle.
That will be at 6 p.m. PM.
6 p.m. Okay, so we have time. Teacher Esther, where are you?
I
You are in
am.
future booking, right? This one.
Yes.
Okay, so you click January 29, right?
Yes. Oh,
29.
okay.
Click future booking.
Okay.
Then you should be diverted to this page.
Yes.
Click that. These are 2 of your students that you can practice on. And then count 1, 2, and 3. Look for teaching plan IELTS. Click that
Okay.
one time. Then click the red button here on the topmost part. BSR, that's band score report.
Okay.
Yep, click, copy paste. I insist to open. you're in the warm-up page now.
All right. Okay. Thank you so much, Marie.
You're welcome. Teacher Christelle,
Yes, DM.
yes. Can you share on your side now? So we
Yes.
can
Just
start with PREC Teacher Christelle from warm up and then until assignment. Can I ask Teacher Rachel to be the student?
I'll try, ma'am.
Okay.
okay, just for a moment. What's the name again? Teacher Rachel.
Rachel.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Past tense
Just for a
of
moment.
Rachel. Rachel.
Oh, okay. Can I call you Kate?
Sure, ma'am.
Okay, great. Well, hi Kate, nice meeting you. I am Crystal, but you can call me Chris. How are you today?
I'm doing great.
Oh, well, that's nice to hear. Okay, before we start, Kate, I'd like to ask you some questions first. Okay.
Mhm.
Could you tell me a bit about yourself? May I know if you are working or still studying?
Um, my name is Kate, and I am already working.
Mhm. That's great. May I know what's your job?
I am currently working in a logistics company.
Hmm. And what's your job there?
I work as a coordinator in the
Mm,
company. So yeah, I mostly work in the office.
okay. Well, your job sounds great, Kate. What do you enjoy most about it?
I do like talking to a lot of foreigners. So yeah, I get to experience talking to people with other nationalities.
Mhm. Well, I appreciate you sharing that with me. And speaking of enjoyment, how do you usually like to spend your weekends or free time?
Yeah, so since I work in the office, I spend my time most in the office. In my free time, I just like staying at home, um, cuddling with my dogs, and yeah, having some me time.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, different people have different ways to relax, right? And it's always attractive for me to hear how people enjoy their free time. And you know what? Some of my students are fans of watching comedy to relax themselves. May I know whether you like watching comedy too?
Yeah, I also like watching comedies. I think the last movie I watched was, oh, never mind. I forgot the title, but yeah, I also like watching, but I just don't remember the titles of the movies that I watch.
Okay, well, that's engaging to know. Kate, well, um, and thank you for sharing that with me because it's
Mhm.
always really interesting for me to hear my students' preferences and how they relax. So, once again, thank you. Now that I know a bit about you, maybe we can now discuss or move on to discussing the or your IELTS exam. Okay.
Mhm. Mhm.
All right. First of all, Kate, have you taken the IELTS exam or the IELTS test before?
No, this would be my first time.
Okay. Mhm. Your first time taking the test. And when are you planning to take it?
I'm planning to take it on September.
On September. Do you already have a final date for it?
None yet.
Okay, maybe we can just put it like it. And what would be your target score for the speaking test?
Um, my target band score would be 6.
Okay. Well, then, thank you, Kate. May I know why would you like or why do you need to take the IELTS speaking test?
Yeah, I am planning to work abroad also. So since the
Mm-hmm.
company is, uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I'm just planning to work abroad and they are requiring me to have an IELTS exam.
Okay, well, that's good to know, and thank you. For that, maybe. You mentioned that it is your first time. May I know if you are familiar with the format of the speaking test?
I do have an idea, but not specific on the specific details.
Oh, okay. Well, let me briefly discuss the speaking test. Okay.
Mhm.
Well, for that, we will have three parts. Okay. And
Uh-huh.
for part one topic, that will be just some personal questions. And I will be asking you um 8 to 10 questions, and you'll have at least 30 seconds to answer each of those questions. Okay. And then
Okay.
for part two, that will be like a storytelling part. I'll give you 1 minute to answer a specific topic and 2 minutes to speak about that one. Okay. And then lastly, for part three, here are some of the questions related to part two, and I'll give you 1 minute to answer each of those questions without any preparation. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Well, that's basically it. I hope you're ready now, Kate.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, great. Well, now let's proceed on our mock test. So just a reminder, we'll be doing a full mock test. Although this is just a practice test, Kate, I'd like to make sure that the time spent on each part is appropriate, okay? So don't worry if I'll stop you on some questions, that just means that your time is over for that specific question, okay?
Okay.
All right. Well, let's start with some of the questions here. Uh-huh. First of all, could you tell me where is your hometown?
I was born in Benguet, Philippines.
Okay. And could you tell me or could you describe your hometown?
Oh yeah. So in my hometown, most of sorry, in my hometown, you would see a lot of mountains, and the source of living there is mostly related to agriculture, farming to be specific.
Mhm. Okay. Have you done farming?
Um, I have experienced it before, but yeah, I think there are a lot of years that I haven't done farming.
Mhm. Okay. Well, great. Thank you. And let us now proceed on our next topic. It's about gifts. Have you ever sent handmade gifts to others?
Um, None that I recall, but yeah, most of the gifts that I have given were mostly bought. I think it is because of the time. Yeah, I do not render enough time in creating gifts, so I prefer buying.
Okay, great. And how about you? Have you received any special gifts that you truly cherish?
Yeah, I think I remember receiving a letter, and for me that would be more valuable than things that are bought.
Mhm. And could you tell me where that or who gave you that letter?
That was from my father for my 16th birthday.
Mhm. Okay, do you still have it?
Oh yeah.
Mm. All right. Well, what do you consider when choosing a gift?
When choosing a gift to give, ma'am,
Yes.
yeah, I think when I buy gifts for other people, I consider their interests, maybe their hobbies, or if I'd buy clothes, I would look at their preferences, their style.
Mhm. Mhm. Okay. Speaking of preferences, what are your preferences about gifts that you would like to receive?
Mm, I'm not sure, but yeah, I do like receiving gifts, but I don't have any specifics about gifts that I receive as long as they give it wholeheartedly.
Mhm. Okay, thank you. Let us now have the next topic. It's about geography. Kate, how do you like geography?
Yeah, I had a subject when I was in high school. I didn't like it.
Okay. Why? Could you tell me why?
Maybe I'm not just interested, and yeah, I am a
Mm,
person who doesn't like going to places, traveling, but
mm, mm. All right. Well, although you don't like or you didn't like geography, do you think it's useful?
of course it is.
Mm, all right. Well, then, thank you so much. That is the end of our part one topic. This time, let's have your part two, dear. I will type your question here in our chat box just for a moment. Okay. I'll give you 1 minute to think about this topic. So here it is. Please describe a person who enjoys cooking for others. That will be your topic, and you have 1 minute to think about that, or maybe you could take down some notes if you wish. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Your time is up, dear.
Mm-hmm. Um,
And this time, I'd like to give you your 2 minutes to speak about the topic. You may now proceed.
yeah. I think for people who likes cooking or who have a passion in cooking, I think they are people who loves to explore and who has a keen I'm sorry, and who likes to care for their family. So I had a roommate before, and her name is her name is Beth, and she has a deep passion for cooking, but she just considers it as a hobby. But now that we are already working, I saw her once, and yeah, we haven't really met in a long time, but I saw that she already put up a restaurant. So her hobby turned into a profession for her. And yeah, that would
Mm-hmm.
be it, ma'am.
All right. Well, then, thank you. And that is the end for part two. Let us have your part three topic. And this time, I'd like to ask you questions related to that question. Okay.
Mhm.
First of all, Kate, what do we need to prepare when we need to cook?
Um, Before cooking, of course, we should prepare the ingredients and the equipment that we need.
Mhm. Okay. When was the last time you cooked, Kate?
Um, this lunch, I think,
What is it?
I cooked. I think that's chicken, and
Mhm.
yeah, rice also.
All right. And since you mentioned that you're from the Philippines, right? Do you agree that food is an important part of Philippine festivals and ceremonies? Ceremonies.
Definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely. I do believe that Filipinos also has a deep passion in cooking, and it is one way for them to show their care or their loves. I'm sorry, their care to their loved ones.
Mhm. Okay. Mhm. How often do you cook cake?
Every day, but not 3 times a day, because I
Mhm.
also buy some food outside.
All right. And for the last question on this part, I'd like to ask you which dishes are a must at festivals?
I'm sorry, can you say that again?
Okay, no problem here. Which dishes are a must at festivals?
Mm-hmm. Here in the Philippines, I think, for Filipinos, I think it is a must to have pansit. Yeah, that is a Filipino delicacy that is also famous here in our place, in our country.
Mhm. Okay. Well, then, thank you so much, Kate. And that is the end of our practice test. How do you
Thank
feel
you.
right now?
Uh-huh. Yeah, I feel quite nervous and I am really unsure of the words if they're
Hmm.
fitting the sentences that I am making, constructing.
Okay. Well, I truly understand that. Well, you know what? I am not just here to test your speaking ability, okay? But I'm
Mm-hmm.
also here to try to help you in your to improve yourself. And so I would like to ask you, in order to help you, which part of the test would be or is the most difficult part for you?
I think it is part two.
Hmm. Can you tell me why?
Excuse me,
Yes, ma'am.
teachers, you're going to do a demo on part one and part three only this time.
Ah,
So
okay.
please choose any of the two, one or two. Oh, sorry,
Yes.
one or three.
Okay, once again, Kate, could you tell me which part of the test would you think or do you think is the most difficult? Is it part one, part two, or part three?
I would say part two, ma'am.
No, okay. Well, then allow me to help you with that. And if you might notice, or if you have noticed, while you were saying your answer earlier, I am typing down some of the things that you are saying.
Mm-hmm.
And just for a moment, I'll show that to you. And also, let me prepare my teaching page because I want to teach you something on this or about this topic. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. So, just for a moment, here it is. I have asked you earlier the question which dishes are a must at festivals. By the way, can you see the screen now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, great. So you mentioned here in the Philippines, I think for Filipinos, I I'm sorry, I forgot what you said there. I think the pancit
Mm-hmm.
is one of our delicacies. Is that what
That,
you mentioned?
yes, ma'am.
Okay. Is one of our okay. Well, I would like to remind you, Kate, that for part three topic, you have at least 1 minute to speak about your answer. Okay. And so if you will see your answer here, you've got at least one sentence, right? For that,
Ma'am.
which is too short for an answer for part three topic. So that will be a problem. And also, um, the word I think you often use that most of the time. So
Mm-hmm.
there are some repetitions. Okay. So what we will do now is uh I'd like to teach you how you can minimize the repetitions on your answers as well as to come up with a more organized uh answer as well as how we can expound it to give you a longer one. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
And so I'd like to teach you now
Teacher,
the PR.
sorry to interrupt. Teacher Christelle, I don't see the left side of your screen where you should flash the teaching page. You should reflect
Yeah.
yeah, everything.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay. And so here it is, the PREC method. Okay. Well, the PREC stands for point, reason, example, and conclusion. Take note of this, Kate, because this would really help you. This would serve as your format and guide in answering part three topic. Okay, let's start first on the point. Okay, well, point are just your basically your ideas, your opinion, or the things that you would like to say at first. Okay, but in this case, giving your point, I would like you to start first on general perspective, okay? To use the question first, okay? How are we going to do that? But first, I'd like you to take note that we can give a very nice start on our answer or what we called an introduction, okay, by doing two things, okay? First of all, I'd like you to add some phrases, okay? Here are some phrases that we can use in giving your point. You can say, well, I would say, well, I guess, personally, I believe. Okay, so here are some of them. And aside from that, paraphrasing is also essential. All right. Well, I am suggesting you to paraphrase for in your introduction, because this is the perfect time to impress your examiner. Okay. That you can become an advanced student, or you would sound like an advanced student. So, how do we paraphrase? Okay. Just like what I told you, we start on a general. We focus on the question first. Okay. We get some keywords from that question and change that to other terms. Not just that, we can also add some details, such as some particular nouns, adjectives, and adverbs. Okay, now for you to understand it better, Kate, I'd like to, or let's try to do it. Okay, let's try to do it. First, let's have the phrase. Could you give me a phrase? Please choose one phrase here that we can use.
I choose to be honest.
Okay, to be honest. Mhm. And I mentioned that we need to focus on the question first, on a general perspective. Which dishes are a must at festivals? Okay. Mm, to be honest, you mentioned here in the Philippines,
Oh,
what? Mhm.
I think for Filipinos,
Okay.
yeah, pancit is one of our delicacies.
Mhm. Okay. Well, this is good. Although, just like what I've said earlier, we must at least get some keywords from our questions and then try to change it. In your case, you mentioned delicacies aside from just
Ah,
saying dishes, right?
dishes.
And that is one way to give some other words for that, which is good. And another thing is maybe we can include the word must here in our answer, right? I think
Uh-huh.
for Filipinos, pancit is
A
what?
must.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Delicacies, right? One of our delicacies that is a must.
Uh-huh.
Mhm. Or what could be the other term for a must?
Um,
Mhm. That is, mhm. Maybe we can say what? Do you have any
have
idea?
to is a have. Ah, no, no, no. Required, needed.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Maybe you can just say um that is a must, or maybe you can say essentials, things
Ah,
like
yeah.
that. Essentials during mhm, or in most of our festivals, right? In our festivals. Okay. Or aside from saying festivals, what could be some other terms for that?
Um, Party occasions.
Oh yeah, occasions. Mhm. In our occasions. Okay. Mhm. Well, what you did there is we directly say your one of your examples. Okay, you said pensit, right? But another way to give your introduction is by using or pointing out the general first. Maybe you can say, I think there are a lot of delicacies that is an essential in our festivals or occasions. Maybe you can say it that way, right? Mhm. And so we can just put pansit as our part of our next sentences to kind of expound it, right? And now let's proceed with the reason. Okay. We've given our point. That's just phrase and paraphrased. Okay. And the next is reason. Well, in giving reasons, we do not just say because most of the time. There are other ways to say it. This is because the main reason is the reason for that is one factor is. So those are some ways. Could you choose one, dear?
Um, the reason for that.
The reason for that is okay. Now, can you tell me what is the reason? Why are there? I mean, why there are a lot of delicacies that is a must during occasions.
Uh, I think the reason for that is Filipinos believe that pancit will make their lives longer.
Mhm. Okay, believe that Pensit would make their lives longer. Okay, would make their lives longer. Okay, that's an interesting way to say that. Maybe we can say could prolong, right? Their
Yeah.
life, right? Mhm. Their lives, or will help them um, to live longer, would help them to live their uh to live longer, not make their lives longer. We cannot make
Uh-huh.
our lives longer, right?
That's right.
hmm Okay. Well, then we're good. Do you have any other reason?
Mm, none that I can think of.
Okay. Well, since you don't have any other reason, maybe we can proceed with example. Okay. And now, when giving example, dear, you can say, for example, for instance, to give an example, or maybe you can say as well a personal example of this if you want to give some ideas or maybe your personal experiences like that mhm, of this is, or a great example of this is. So, how would you like to give your example, Kate?
Yeah.
How would you like to give your example?
I do I need to start with a phrase, ma'am? Oh, there,
Yes.
there.
hmm
For instance,
For instance, okay. Now, can you think of an example?
um, sorry. Does the example need to justify the reason or
hmm Oh, yeah, of course. Or maybe you can just give an example about pancit,
the main
where, I
example?
mean, tasting pancit or in an event, things like that.
Mhm. Yeah. For instance, I just had my birthday last year and we enjoyed cooking pancit with my family.
Mhm. And we enjoyed cooking
With my family.
pancit with my family. Okay. So notice this one, Kate. You mentioned pancit in every sentence that we have, right? Maybe we can change some of it, like cooking pancit. Maybe we can make it like cooking this dish, right?
Yes.
Mhm. With my family. I just had my birthday last year, okay, and we enjoyed cooking this dish with my family. Okay, what's the significance of pancit in your birthday?
Sorry.
I mean, what's the significance of pancit in your celebration of birthday?
Yeah, we just enjoyed making it. Of course, it requires a lot of efforts to be put in, and it is a great bond for our family also.
Oh, okay. Hmm. I just had a birthday last year. And so when giving examples, Kate, well, we need, yeah, just like you mentioned, we need to justify our reason as well as um we need to connect our examples to
Uh-huh.
the reasons or point that we have in here, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And so maybe we can say it this way. I just had my birthday last year and I thought
Oh,
mhm,
yeah.
that um mhm, this hmm, what this food should not be what missed or um should not be missed in the celebration, right?
Yes,
Mhm. And then we can now extend our answer by giving some of your experiences, right? We enjoyed cooking this dish with my family. Mhm. Miss in the celebration. That's why, or maybe therefore, mhm, I decided to cook, right? To
yes, ma'am.
cook some mhm, with my family. Maybe you can just say to cook this dish. We can just remove the ed. This dish with my family. Mhm. Therefore, I decided to cook this dish with my family. And then maybe if you want to add some other details, such as although it was quite, I mean, it was not easy. It was not a piece of cake. You want to say that it was not
Mhm.
a piece of cake to do it or to cook that kind of dish, right? I don't know how to cook it honestly, so yeah, piece of cake, easy. It was not a piece of cake cooking that dish. So, although it was not a piece of cake cooking that dish, we enjoyed our bond together, right? Things like
Yes, ma'am.
that. Maybe you can include that as well. And we're good for our example. You
Okay.
made a two sentence you made two sentences there, which is good. And so we can now proceed on the letter C, and that is your conclusion. Okay. Well, on your conclusion part, dear, if you don't have anything else to say, you can end your answer by saying, so that's basically what I think. This is pretty much all I can think of right now.
Mm.
Okay. And, but, I mean, if you still have things that you would like to say, you can say overall, in conclusion, in summary. Okay, here are some other ways to say it. In the end, right? And yeah, also you can add some idioms such as in a nutshell, just to sound more advanced, right? Add some idioms as well in your answers, okay? Across the board. Mm. And how would you like to conclude now?
Um, Sorry, ma'am. Can you scroll it up?
Oh yeah. What we are
Oh,
now on your conclusion part, okay? Well, what I'm suggesting to you is to use some ending
yes,
sentences
ma'am.
here if you don't have anything else to say, or you can make your own conclusion by saying some other phrases here as well.
Yes.
Mhm. So, how would you like to conclude it?
This is pretty much I can think of right now.
This is pretty much all I can think of right now. Mhm. And so that's it. But let me give you um, a suggestion how you can make an introduction because, well, saying this phrase will be good. However, if your answer is still not that long enough for that 1 minute answer, maybe you can extend your answer more by adding conclusion, right? And so maybe we
Mhm.
can say it this way. Overall, mhm, I feel mhm, what? Could you tell me how do you feel every time there's been sit?
Mhm. Yeah. Overall, I feel sorry. Right now. Overall, I feel happy to serve pancit to my family and to all those who attended my birthday.
Mhm. Okay, yeah. Maybe that could be a good extension of your answer. Okay. Maybe we can add the um phrase or thing that you mentioned earlier that was not easy, right? I feel or that should be I felt happy back then, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then serving a mhm,
The dish.
I mean, could you tell me how much pancit did you make on that day? Like, is
Okay.
that a bowl of or like I don't know,
Serving
kilo?
maybe 2 trays.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, two trays. Oh, two trays. Uh, mm-hmm. This mm-hmm. Food for my family, and then we can say, although it was not really easy, right? Preparing it. It was not a just a piece of cake preparing for it, right? And then I added some idioms as well. So that, yep, preparing for it. Trays of mhm, a piece of cake. So that's it. Cake. That is just a suggestion, but yeah, you can end your answer this way. Okay.
Mhm.
Hmm. Oh, just for a moment. And we are done. Do you have questions?
None.
All right.
For now.
So, what do you think of our answer now?
I think it is more organized and it is a lot longer.
All right. Well, that's good. This time, I'd like to ask you the question again, Kate. And maybe you can give me your own answers, or you can just basically read the answers that we made. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So, once again, which dishes are a must at festivals?
To be honest, here in the Philippines, I think for Filipinos, pancit is one of our delicacies that is a must sorry, in our festivals. The reason for that is Filipinos believe that pancit would prolong their lives. For instance, I just had my birthday last year and I thought that this food should not be missed in the celebration. Therefore, I decided to cook this dish with my family. This is pretty much all I can think of right now.
All right. Well, then, thank you, Kate. Since you don't have questions about it, let us now proceed on discussing your band score feedback. Okay.
Mhm.
So for your band score, I know that you are aiming for a band score of a 6, but on our test today, Kate, to be honest, you did great. I don't
Thank
want
you.
to discourage you. Oh, just for a moment. But here is your score earlier. Okay, just a disclaimer, you're not allowed to share the screen with the students. So well, I
The
misclick
scoring part,
the
ma'am.
score. Yeah, this scoring part should not be shared with the student. And yeah. And so I just misclick a score earlier. So yeah, let's start discussing your band score feedback now, Kate. Um, Overall, you've got a band score of, I don't know what's happening. It should be a 5.5. I'm sorry. I click it all and I
Teacher
saved
Christelle,
it.
can you go back to scoring so that you can fix the scoring first?
Oh yeah, just for a moment.
Yeah. Make sure the overall score that you like should reflect there.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay. Once again, Kate, this is your band score feedback. I've saved also some of the. Mhm. This is not. I'm sorry. TMI did. I do not
Yeah,
put all
yes.
these things, but I saved my notes earlier.
That's
This is
okay.
not my notes.
I just need
Okay.
you to
Well.
present how you are going to present the band score feedback. And you have to click
Mhm.
the timer, dear.
Okay. All right. So once again, Kate, this is your band score. Overall, you've got a band score of a 5.5. Good job for your first ever trial for that speaking test. You did a great job today. And as you can see here, your strength is really your pronunciation. And then you also got a 6 score, a high score of 6 for fluency and coherence. And as for your grammatical range and accuracy, such and also your lexical resource, um, these are the criteria that we still need some focus on. Okay, so let's start discussing each of these criteria. First of all, on your pronunciation, I did not have or I do not have problem understanding you throughout the task that we made, that we did, and there are no problems with some words, and you pronounce them accurately. Uh, huh. Well, what I would just suggest to you is to just continue improving on your intonation and stress. Okay.
Mhm.
Mhm. And for your fluency and coherence, what I admire uh, on your speaking earlier is that you can definitely speak at length. You can speak without much pauses. Okay, there are no pauses most of the time, uh, and also repetition. But yep, just some repetitions on some words such as to think, right? Most of the time, I think. I've already discussed that with you. For the word I think, maybe you can say it like I believe, I reckon, things like that. Okay. So that will be some other vocabulary for you for the word think. Okay. And
Okay.
of course, we should not forget some connectors and discourse markers. We've added that earlier, such as moreover, furthermore, however. These are for adding details. Okay, these are for adding details. But there are a lot of other linking words that you can use. Please learn them and learn how to use them. Okay.
Uh,
hmm For your lexical resource, well, as you can see here, paraphrasing is really part of the criteria. Okay. So just like what I've told you earlier when we are doing the corrections, I'd like you to paraphrase more. And learn more vocabulary as well as idioms and collocations. Just by adding in a nutshell across the board, that will be a good thing for you. That will be helpful to help you, I mean, to make you sound more advanced. And collocations, do you know what collocations are?
Can you tell me about that, ma'am?
Mhm. Well, collocations are just some group of words combined together and form a new meaning, okay? Such as this one. When we say pay attention, okay? Pay attention, we do not actually pay attention, such as, like a money. Well, pay attention just means focus, okay? So, collocations are mostly like those combined words that doesn't really have
Literal.
sense, but yeah, literal sense, but yep, it has the different meaning.
Mhm.
And lastly, dear, for your grammatical range and accuracy, well, um, what I have noticed when you are speaking your answers, most of them are simple sentences. Okay. Well, they are quite in a good structure, but for you to become more advanced, just like what you mentioned, you want an advanced score of 6. I'd
Yes.
like you to use a range of grammatical tenses and forms. And yeah, maybe you can now make more complex sentences. Okay.
Mhm.
Mm, And that's it. Do you have questions about these four?
None for now, ma'am.
Okay. Well, then overall, Kate, you've got a pretty good score now, and you are just an inch in your, to your score or your goal score, the target score that you've mentioned earlier. What I would like you to do is to just be more confident, okay? Practice to gain that confidence as well as to improve your topic development, especially on part 2 and part 3 topic. Okay.
Uh-huh. I'll do that, ma'am.
All right. Questions there?
Um, None, ma'am.
All right. Since you don't have questions, let us now discuss your course plan. Okay. So I told you to practice, right? Well, you can practice with us, Kate. Well, we have what we called the course plan for you. You mentioned that you wanted a band score of a 6, and we are at a 5.5. You're about to take your exam on September, so maybe you still have like a month to practice. What we're suggesting, Kate, is that you can have at least one class a day for 10 to 15 times. What we will do in those classes is we're going to talk about a lot of other different questions, okay? And also some other methods. It is for you to be familiarized on a range of topics. Maybe that could be one of the questions, or yeah, for your actual exam, or maybe related to the questions that will be asked to you on your actual exam, right?
Yes.
Can
hmm
I
Any
interrupt
question?
here? Sorry, Teacher Christelle. Can you
Yes,
can you
DM.
scroll a little bit down after? No, not that part. We don't show that part, dear.
Oh,
Scroll up,
okay.
scroll up. Yeah. So you go after the suggested class number, right? So you will do 10 to 15 classes. Don't worry, this is just system generated, right? This is just system
Okay.
generated, and this will be our practice mode. So
Mhm.
for the part three, 1 and 3, we can do independent topic teaching, and for part 2, we can do also the same independent topic teaching. So you click this 3
Oh,
boxes,
yeah.
not on the
Mhm.
button. Yes. And then just click
Yeah.
confirm. No need to show below.
All
Just
right.
just to simplify to the student that this is the course plan. You can do part by part or you can do independent topic teaching. Yeah. So
Mhm.
I don't recommend, can you scroll down a little bit? Hindi dyan. We don't show that, dear.
Oh, I'm sorry, Tia.
Dun lang sa practice mode. Yeah, that part.
Mhm.
So we don't, in the beginning of the trial class, we don't recommend you to click the merging topics here, the one on the left side of part two teaching strategy, because merging topics is discussing three topics of part two using one storyline. So since trial class, um, maybe the student isn't advanced, then it'll be difficult for you to choose this mainly because it's for more advanced student. Yeah. So you can, what happens is at the end of the trial class, whatever you clicked here will be system generated. So every time that student will enroll with you, um, the teaching material will be based on what you click. Okay, so just click this three and then click confirm. I'm done, Teacher Christelle. Your turn.
Okay. So do you have questions about your band score feedback? I mean, the band score feedback and your course plan, Kate?
No questions.
All right. Well, what I would like you to do now is to just review the class report. For this class, you may request a copy of your band score feedback from our assistant. Okay. And then, since I am done with your course plan, you are now free to preview the content for your next classes. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Well, then, thank you so much, Kate. And I really had a great time talking with you. And I'll see you next time. Bye bye.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Thank you,
Okay,
Kate.
thank you. That's
Thank
the
you.
end
Thank
of
you,
this
ma'am.
the presentation of Teacher Christelle. Thank you very much, Teacher Christelle. But stay there for a while.
Oh, yeah.
I'd
Mhm.
like to ask everyone, anyone for that matter, who wants to ask questions. No one. No one wants to ask question. Hello.
Hey Marie, I have a question.
Yes, please.
Hi, so Marie, so since this is my first time to be teaching this kind of online class, would there be another mock test just to make sure that I can navigate everything?
I actually shared in the GC where you are also, I think. Well, I'm not sure if you're there because Esther,
Um,
earlier you only had your live something something Skype. But I shared with everyone a file copy of a similar coaching wherein it started with opening the website and also doing the
okay.
same thing all over again. So I can
Mm,
share that with you.
okay, thank
You're
you.
welcome. So anyone else specifically, any questions for that part? Teacher Rachel.
No questions yet, ma'am. I'll be reviewing the YouTube video.
Okay, I'd like to share with you, before I ask you, Teacher Christelle, stay there for a while.
Yes, Dan, no
I will
problem.
just share with you some files here. Share screen. Okay, what I shared in the GC, if you can see my screen now, is the system operation guideline. So as you open that, you will see there how we logged in. You see that we clicked the website iTongzuo. This one is a little small, but it's what we entered earlier. So it's iTongzuo, and then we clicked sign in. Kasi you're gonna choose the English, right? So this is sign in button, and you log in the test page, the login details that I shared with you. So whatever we did earlier, click future booking, it's all here. And then what teacher Christelle did was to click some buttons here. So she's been clicking this part. So all you needed to do is enter the website and try to click this part. So she did click warm up, and then she clicked answer correction after the warm up. This is where she did the IELTS speaking test. So after warm up, you skip IELTS speaking introduction, full mock test, and scoring. Go directly to answer correction, because after warm up, you're going to do the full mock test, and that's in the answer correction. Then band score feedback, 5 minutes, course plan, 3 minutes, and homework. Okay, she only went to IELTS speaking introduction because you can see that on your side. You're not sharing the screen at that point in time. You only share the screen, not from warm up. You will share the screen from answer correction, because this is the time that you will already correct your student's original answer. So teacher Christelle was showing you from warm up so that you can see how she filled up the warm up page when she was interviewing the student, and so on, what she clicks, so that you can see it. But basically, in the real IELTS exam, in the real class that you will have with your student, you will share the screen from here, answer correction. Okay, so that's the system operation guideline. So you can see here how you click this one. You can type here, and then when you interview your student on when is the exam date, you can click the date here, and then you can choose the date. So just like teacher Richard, you mentioned that you still don't have a date that you plan your exam. So what's going to happen is, let's say the date today is August 1, and you don't have an exact date, you will have to put the date 1 month after the date today. So that'll be September 1 that you click here in the calendar. So the first field here is the student's current level. If, like you, teacher Rachel, you haven't taken the IELTS before, the IELTS exam before, so teacher Christelle reflected your current level here in the first field. And in the next box will be the student's target score, which is 6, right? So that's what you reflect here. And then you click save here, right? And then how you navigate from one question to the other, you will just click this, and then you will move on from one topic to the other. From part 1, there are 3 topics in part 1 topic in part 2, and 1 topic in part 3, but there are several questions in several parts. Then you just click this kind of arrow down. So it's actually easy to just click that, just play with it. Nothing really complicated. Maybe at the beginning it looked like, wow, it's so sophisticated. But other than the buttons, it's just like learning to play a game. Then I need you to play with it, click, 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 and then type and save. Type and save. This is where you type and then save. Yep. So this part in part 2, teacher Christelle actually got it from another part, but you can also get it from here. You just highlight it and then copy and save, send to the student. Because in part 2, this is part 2 of the speaking test, please copy from the bottom up. So highlight, copy, and send in the chat box. Yeah, it's all here anyway. So it's a little bit of a lot of details at the beginning, but once you see how it's done, like how teacher Christelle did it, then it's simpler. and then try to collate all the information. But what I'm saying is all the information is here. Yep. And then also, if you click this arrow, you can make the typing part bigger. It can be smaller, it can be bigger. So you can try it. And then also where you can type is just like a Word file wherein you can highlight, you can change the color, change the font, and all that. So you can use you can make the class notes structured, clear, and organized and pretty for your students, because at the end of the test, your student will have a copy of that to review. Okay. So on top of that, these ones are, you can see this is like a sample answer in part 3 or part 1. So you can have an idea like how long should a part 3 answer be. That should be like 5 to 6 sentences, which is like this. And part 1, which is just 30 minutes, 30 seconds, will just, it consists of 2 to 3 sentences maximum, because it's just 30 seconds, right? So just before I forget, part 1 and part 3, which is the PREC method that we teach our IELTS students. For part 1, C or conclusion is optional kasi 2 to 3 sentences lang. But in part 3, conclusion should be there. It's longer here, if you can see. Okay, so earlier when Teacher Christelle was in the band score, oh no, this is scoring, right? So what you're gonna do is, there's 1 minute to prepare. But dun sa mock test, there's 1 minute to prepare for your student. So what you're going to do is go to scoring. That's when you score your students' performance in the warm-up and part 1. So before you move on to part 2, right? So already you have, you can gauge what's the band score of this student. What's the lexical resource, fluency and coherence, and all that. But I'm going to give you an idea how to give a band score in a very easy manner. So all you needed to do here would be click the timer, because it's just a minute. What I would normally do here is I would click all 5. And then let's say after I finish the warm-up and part 1, I'm going to adjust it based on the performance. But already I have a band score 5 in my scoring. I have already saved that. Okay. So you just adjust it based on the performance. Then as you can see here, there's a 5-minute timer. And you can click the buttons here, just like fluency and coherence. You need to adjust maybe the number of sentences that you have provided or your answer. So click that. Maybe you can use the method that I taught you to expand your answers and make your answers logical. So click that and then have some examples here. So in this part, you start with the overall score, just like what teacher Christelle did. And then after you mention the overall score, begin with the strength. So strength first, the highest score, and then move on to the criteria that has the points to improve on, and then discuss that. It's actually the weakness now after the strength. And then click save, then course plan. You just mention what teacher Christelle did, and then what you saw earlier, confirm, and then assignment. Okay, so that's the system operation. For the script, it's here as well. This is the IELTS quick guide script. So look, this is the, let me see. This is the whole part of, or the timing of the trial class. It started with a warm-up, that's 4 to 5 minutes. And then full mock test, that's 11 to 14 minutes. answer correction was teacher Christelle did should be approximately 20 to 25 minutes. Band score feedback 4 to 5 minutes, and course plan just 3 minutes, 1 minute long or less in assignment. So what you wanted to see here would be, as you can see here, warm up, you don't share screen. You will share screen already in the full mock test. And what you're going to do, there are some things you want to read there, but the most important here would be in the full mock test, you still don't share the screen here, but you start here. This is your script, meaning to say the script has to be verbatim. So maybe on your demo, you still haven't memorized that. You can have a guideline, like on the side, what we call código, right? You can glance at it if you're not, you haven't memorized it, but later on, it'll be very natural for you. So for your full mock test, don't add to that because it's like simulating a real IELTS exam. So follow the script strictly. Okay. So you're gonna go, we'll be doing a full mock test like the real exam. I need to make sure time spent on each part is appropriate. So don't worry if I stop you, it's normal in the real exam. You're gonna begin like that. So, okay. So I'd start by asking you some questions about yourself. Topic 1, full mock test now. Then deliver the question. I noticed, Teacher Christelle, you'd be having follow-up questions, right? Teacher Christelle, are you still there, Teacher Christelle?
She went downstairs for water.
Teacher Christelle?
Yes.
Okay. So we're not supposed to give follow-up questions because as you see here, this is the script and you just deliver the questions. So basically, let's say, where's your hometown? Then student will answer. And then if the student's answer is quite short, no need to have a follow-up question. So you see here in part 1, there's topic 1, 2, and 3. You see topic 1 has 2 questions. Topic 2, 2 questions. Topic 3, 3 questions. So that's a total of 4 minutes in part 1. So if it's 30 seconds each, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 questions lang. If you see more than 8, you don't need to deliver all that because you're going to go over the time of 4 minutes. Yep. And then part 2, you will go to scoring when you give 1 minute to prepare for the student's answer. So you'd say, now I'm going to give you a topic I'd like you to talk about for 1 to 2 minutes. Ito na yung when the student will answer it. Okay, and then you will give the topic in the chat box. Then finish the scoring in the website. Then you will say, if almost 1 minute is over, go back to part 2. You would say, you have 2 minutes for this. Don't worry if I stop you. I'll tell you when 2 minutes is up. Can you now start speaking, please? So then type the answer. So it's all here. Okay. And then for this is the band score descriptors. So what I mentioned earlier, I'm going to teach you that. And if you see the band score 5 here, so there are 1, 2, 3, 4 criteria. So if your student can, usually most of the students can express themselves in a very basic manner. And how is that? It's just like most of their speech is characterized by simple sentences. Wala masyadong complex or compound sentences. There's not a lot of new, not new vocab, advanced vocabulary. So most of them are food, hometown, book. So it's all very simple words that they use to describe something, to do something, and so on, to express themselves. So if the student can give you simple sentences, simple words, then the student is in this line in band score 5. So I would also advise the teachers to not unless if the student um, cannot answer or understand your questions, like, sorry, teacher, I don't know what that means, or I don't understand the question. Can you repeat again? And then even if you repeat it, cannot answer you, that's the time you give 4. But if your student can answer you, only maybe the pronunciation is, let's say, um, unintelligible, like you cannot understand it. So basically, kasi, in the company, we have Chinese teachers that can speak English. So that kind of student should study with that kind of teacher. But of course, you don't say that, right? So what I'm trying to say is maybe that student, you can catch some keywords and can maybe you can pick up the words that, oh, this student can express, except that I couldn't really understand all of it. So don't easily give a 4 because they get offended. Okay. So maybe that's why I put my scoring always in 5 and I go up. If they give me more expressions, uh, maybe the sentence structure is more advanced, like some complex, or sometimes they try it, but then some are maybe a little, there's some errors in it. So that's when I try to adjust the score. But as a like say a benchmark to gauge whether nasa na yung score ni student, I start with a 5. Okay. And then that will be the script, the ice breaking script, which is also scripted, which is this one. The ice breaking script. Ito yung dineliver ni Teacher Christelle. Could you tell me a bit about yourself? So you have a copy of this. All you needed to do is to deliver these questions verbatim during the warm up. Okay. So just try to make it sound natural. Don't make it sound like it's scripted. Okay. So pwedeng, let's say, it says here that most people like to watch comedy shows. Maybe the student would say, my hobby would be going out to parties and all that. So when it comes to TV shows, would you like to watch some TV shows related to your hobbies? Dun mo siya medyo i-relate. But basically, the ice-breaking script is verbatim. You have to follow the questions exactly like this. Okay? Questions? Andiyan ka na, Teacher Christelle? Teacher Christelle?
Hello? Yes, TM.
Teacher Christelle, I noticed that during the mock test, you would give follow-up questions, right?
Yeah, because I cannot actually click fast for the next questions. So
Yes.
I tried.
Mm. Actually, as I've mentioned, we're not supposed to do follow-up questions because
Mm,
it's simulating the real IELTS exam. Okay.
mm,
Yep.
copy
So,
TM.
um, any questions regarding the full trial class that you just saw? Because the next stage would be, I'm going to ask you, now is Wednesday, right? I'm going to ask you, when can you do the demo? So maybe you can check first the files and then you can chat with me when you can do it. Okay? Hello. You can open your cameras now, please. Teacher there. You were ahead to learn, right? Teacher there, Teacher Jack, Teacher Ken. Yeah, maybe you can be the first to do the demo.
Hello, ma'am. Hello,
Hi,
TM.
Teacher Ken.
You were saying
I was
something.
saying the next step would be for you to do the demo.
Me?
What's gonna happen is that you will inform me. Let's say on Friday, example, I'd be available to do the demo at 2 o'clock onwards. Then I arrange that with an examiner, and then um, inform you about that. Then you will do your demo. There's also gonna be a maybe three. Teacher Christelle, how long did you do the Ding Talk training?
Think I finished it for like a week because I mostly stopped. I had some events to attend to, so I did not finish it for like 3 days. So it took me a week to actually finish it, or less
So
than 6 days.
I see. So approximately 3 to 6 days, depending on
Yes.
if you're gonna do it continuously.
Mhm.
So, but there'll be a training bonus for that if you finish it within 6 days. But if you finish it more than that, there's no training bonus. Okay, so that's the Ding Talk. It's self-paced. It's just like if you mentioned about training online, it's similar to that. So you learn the course, you watch the videos, you can see the information there, and then there's like a quick um, quiz, short quiz in some parts. But that'll help you to really be familiar with the IELTS before you even begin to teach. Okay. All right. So if you don't have questions, I think I'm going to stay with you, Teacher Christelle, to review your ET flow, right? Not unless some of you would like to stay and hear that. Like, how can that trial class be improved? That's what we're going to discuss. Actually, in that class, there were something missed. So, would you like to share from warm up, Teacher Christelle? Just tell them what are the buttons to click, and then maybe
Yeah.
some transition questions.
Okay.
Yeah. The page that you were sharing earlier, also the answer correction part, can be good to review that a little bit.
Mhm. All right. So here is a warm up page. So while you're getting some infos from your students, you're typing their details here, and you will type the info. I mean, here on the other column, I mean, what do you call this one? You will type here first time if that's the student's first time to take the test. And here on the left side will be his or her target level that will be less than this one because this is the target score. If the student already has like uh his previous test, you can ask his or her score from that test and then put that in here. And for his or her target score, this that will be put here in the right side of the this level and target. And then you will ask the student when will be his or her exam or the speaking test. After that, you must click saved here, so that it would be saved.
Okay,
And
just to add that the student didn't give you the date, right, Teacher Christelle?
mm.
So
Oh,
did she
okay.
give you a date?
Yes,
Oh, she did.
teacher Kate said September.
September. Okay. In case
Mhm.
the student said, I haven't planned on that, maybe next week, I'm not really sure. So what you're going to put here would be the date from today, dated
Mhm.
1 month later.
Yeah.
Okay. Continue, please.
Okay, and then save. After that, you will ask questions more on about the test. If the student still don't remember or still is quite not familiar with the format, you can briefly discuss them. Here is a guide that you can use to explain each part of the test. And after that, you can just proceed on your answer correction part for the actual mock test. And here are the questions that you can ask your students. Mhm. Well, here are the parts, and then here are the questions on each part. Okay. So
Sorry, I noticed that you haven't been clicking the 30-second timer, right, Teacher
yeah, I
Christelle?
forgot that.
Ah, okay. So can
Mm,
you show how to navigate from one topic to the other and one question to the other and click the timer and save?
okay. Mhm. And so here is the question. You'll ask the question and then ask the question, click the timer, type his or her answer, and then after that, save. Mhm. After that, move on to the next question, ask the question, click the timer, and then uh, type their answers here, click save. And then after that, move on to the next topic, and then ask the question, click the timer, type here, and then save. Once you're done for part one topics, mhm, proceed on part two. And then as it says earlier, you can just copy this question here, type it in the chat box. Give the student a minute to prepare. While giving the students a minute, click here and then um, put your grades here. Click the grades that you would like to give your students, and then after a minute, go back to the answer correction part because you'll proceed now on the part three questions. Okay, part three. Okay, for that part three, click the timer, type your answer, and then save. You don't actually need to wait for that timer to stop. If the students finish what they're saying, you can just proceed on the other one and then click the timer, type your answer, and then save here. Okay. So that's basically for the answer correction part. And that's it for that. Um once you're done for the answer
Sorry,
correction, yes,
Teacher
DM.
Christelle, can you show the the improved answer earlier?
Oh yeah, just for a moment. Oh. Mhm.
Okay, as you can see here, there's a little bit of mistake in here in such a way that you mentioned about okay, there's like for the reason, that's the reason, right? And then there will be an example, for instance. When you mention therefore, therefore is already the start of the conclusion because when you conclude, you can use therefore.
Mhm.
Yes.
Mhm.
So either you can use therefore or Another one is this is pretty much all I can think of right now, or the idiomatic expression that you introduce, which is overall.
Mm-hmm.
All of that will be under um, conclusion,
Okay.
right? So it's
Yes, dear.
already the beginning of conclusion when you started with the therefore. Okay.
Okay.
So as you will notice here, teacher Christelle did paraphrasing. Asan yung um, outline natin? Yeah. She did paraphrasing, like for repetitive words. You did not introduce collocations, right?
Oh, yeah, at the end, in the band score feedback team.
At the end. So you should also introduce some collocations here, just like
Mm-hmm.
some two words together that can
Mm-hmm.
mean another thing, just like here. If it's about cooking, that will be, or dishes, can be some Asian cuisine. So that's those
Mm-hmm.
two words together. Fast food, or maybe gourmet, a more advanced word for a very good cook. I'm also a foodie, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
You can introduce that all here. So apart from collocations or more advanced words, you can also introduce some um, idiomatic expressions, just like after preparing all this food, I'm over the moon because I'm, celebrating with my family. So you highlight over the moon. That means I'm extremely happy for this celebration. So highlight that, because why you need to highlight? It's because um, can you show the original answer, Teacher Crystal? You can see the original answer is quite short, and there's not a lot of advanced words in there. So if the student's target score is 6, then with this kind of answer, definitely she cannot achieve the band score 6. But with your help, please show the improved answer. Then if your student get hold of the improved answer in a very clear and organized manner, you have to fix this further, Teacher Christelle,
Mm-hmm.
to make it more organized. Organized meaning yung sentences mo has to be clear, organized, and hindi siya watak-watak, in such a way na pag binasa nila, parang it has to be in a paragraph form. Yep. So you gotta,
Oh,
if you haven't done that at the end of the class, I would suggest do it. But if you can do it
okay.
during the class, it's better. Yeah. But if
Mm-hmm.
if you weren't able to do it, do so at the end of the class, so that when I get my class notes, I am not confused.
Okay.
Okay. And then please refrain from using yellow. It's kind of difficult to see. Yep.
Um,
So below is the color coding that Teacher Christelle did. Can you show your color coding? Yeah. So
that's for connectives.
meron siyang paraphrasing in purple, collocations in green, connectives in yellow, masakit sa mata,
Mm-hmm.
and idioms
Okay.
in blue. Yeah. It's a
Mm-hmm.
little hard to see that. Yeah. So what she did was, when she improved the answer, okay, we don't ask our student to read the answer. You can say, okay, this is our improved answer. I'm going to give you a few seconds to check your answer, and then let's do a double practice. I'm going to click this timer again and ask the question, and you can have a try one more time. So you can use the method PREC as a mind map. So don't ask them to read it, so that when they deliver their answer again, they can think more. And
Okay.
because you're going to train them to answer using that method as a mind map, because you're going to ask them in the future just to use that method, but not reading. You see,
Okay.
it's training on how they think and can develop their answers in
Mm-hmm.
different topics, different questions. Okay, so no reading for that. Um, After you do that, Then if you have time, you can practice with another question. But if there's none, you can move on to the band score feedback, right?
Okay.
So
Mhm.
band score feedback, please, Teacher Christelle. So if you see here, so you should start with a strength, right? So
Mhm.
pronunciation, which you discussed, right? That I could
Mhm.
understand you all throughout. So pronunciation is your highest score, and so on. Bahala ka na mag-explain. And click something that you wanted to highlight because it's the strength, right? So then move to the weakest part, the points to improve on. So it's the lexical resource, right? That's the weakest part. So click also. It means use paraphrasing, click, use vocab. And then dun sa baba, you need to, let's say paraphrasing. So you have to put some examples, just like I think you're able to paraphrase that to I believe or
Mhm.
I reckon. So type that. Type the specific upgrades that you did.
Mhm.
Where can they type that, Teacher Christelle? Can you show it to them?
Here.
So you actually don't just put their lexical resource. Inulit mo lang yun nasa taas eh.
Yes,
No?
this is from the previous teacher who made it. I
Okay.
mean, yeah.
Yeah, so
Mhm.
you have to teach some examples,
Mhm.
like what I mentioned, right?
Oh, yeah. Mhm.
Like that. So that's one example. You can click more and put more examples because in each criteria or in each box, you should type at least 10 words. Otherwise, you
Mhm.
won't be able to complete. Because some teachers don't type here, so they cannot complete. Because you're supposed to teach. And remember, this is a report. This is the red button that you click na BSR. So kung wala kang tinype dito, parang wow. Bakit pa sila nag-enroll sa'yo? Wala ka naman palang, it's content, right? So Teacher Christelle, on the grammatical range here, you put here
Mhm.
a complex sentence, right?
Mhm.
So you should put here an example how to make a complex sentence because the student doesn't know how. Kaya nga simple sentences lang siya. But you just
Oh,
said, okay, make compound complex sentence. But you should teach, right? You should put an example. You get it?
okay. I understand you.
Okay.
Mhm.
So then before you move on to the course plan, you need to ask, of course you ask, do you have some questions? So but you need to ask, do you have some questions on the band score feedback and on the mock test? Because if there's none, let's move on to the course plan. Dalawa ang tanong. Okay, Teacher Christelle?
Okay.
Yun yung
Mhm.
transition question kasi ng examiner. They look for that.
Okay.
And then, tama na yung ginawa mo kanina. But don't scroll down, yung super baba. It's a lot of information. They don't need that.
Okay.
Okay. You can now stop sharing because I'm going to discuss a little bit more when they're not here. Okay. So, guys, let's just keep in touch. Oh, my network is unstable. Okay, let's just keep in touch and let me know when's your demo. I'll stay a little bit more with Teacher Christelle. Thank you.
All right, thank
You,
you.
thank you,
Have a good
Thank
ma'am.
day.
you.
Bye
Bye-bye.
bye.
Thank you.